can't believe that in half an hour, I will be a part of the Ladomus Gaming Dynasty Empire.
Dominion. We prefer Dominion.
I honestly can't wait to be a part of your family.
There's just one more thing. And then you are officially part of the family. So, at midnight, you have to play a game.
Why
It's just something we do when someone new joins the family.
a game? What game? Hide and seek? Are we really gonna play that?
Well, the rules are simple. You can hide anywhere. We then try to find you.
So there's no way for me to win, right?
And stay hidden until dawn.
No, thank you.
Good luck.
What the hell is this? How old is this thing?
I know you're in here.
Oh, Jesus. You shot the maid.
Does she look like she's wearing a giant white wedding dress, Emily?
Holy shit!
I had to play along so that I can get you out.
Insane.
They think they have to kill you before sunrise, or something very bad will happen to the family.
If we don't find her and perform the ritual, we're all dead.
Found her.
God damn it! Emily!
I don't know what I'm doing!
And today's video is called Getting to Know Your Crossbow.
I forgot my gun.
Why don't you just use mine?
Mr. Ladomus, I just saw her running.
Oh my God! You're just another sacrifice. Did you think this is a fucking game?
Yes, hide and seek. Remember? You wanted to get married.
No, I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
Ready or Not is an action, comedy, horror, mystery, thriller movie that was released on August 21st, 2019. I recently saw this movie because it looked interesting. I don't really have much else to say in terms of background information, so let's just see if it's good. The story follows a woman who is about to get married. On her wedding night, she is told by her husband that she has to play a game. What is the game? Well, it is given out via picking cards out at random. The game she picks is hide and seek. As the night goes on, the bride, named Grace, realizes the family is planning on killing her. Well, more accurately, she finds out pretty quickly. Now, this doesn't sound like a bad concept, but I'm not going to beat around the bush here. Honestly, this movie is not that great. One of the problems that I have with it is the character of Grace herself. It is not that she's completely fucking unlikable. It is more of the fact that she is not really as compelling as she could have been. The entire concept is set up so that she can overcome the situation she is in and fight her way through it and be a strong female character. A good, strong female character. However, she is really just another typical fucking horror movie girl who is fearful almost throughout the whole movie. Sure, the entire family's out to kill her, but after seeing characters like Jillian from The Fury or Meg from The Blob, that's not going to be impressive to me. In fact, she actually doesn't have any effect on this plot whatsoever. The only thing that she does plot relevant is beat some bitch with a box until she dies. Even then, it's not like the story would have changed that much. Now, some of you might say, well, Indiana Jones doesn't do anything plot related in Raiders of the Lost Ark, and that's a good movie. I actually disagree with that. Because I have found a few things that Indy does that affects the plot. If he didn't do them, the plot would have been changed or would have just ended the movie. You know what I used? A little goddamn bit of brain power. With Ready or Not, there's literally only... With Ready or Not, that is literally the only thing I could think of, because the situations in both those movies are vastly different. I mean, comparing Ready or Not to Raiders of the Lost Ark is not a fair comparison. But it's the only one I could think of, alright? This is kind of a modern day Grindhouse movie, but there are plenty of Grindhouse movies in the past that are more empowering than this movie. Even some of the more modern ones. Dead fucking serious. Another problem I have with the movie is that it was marketed as some sort of dark comedy, but it's almost not even a comedy. There aren't really any jokes. Let's see, there's a scene... There's barely any jokes, is what I'm trying to say. Let's see, there's a scene with the family talking so nonchalantly about killing Grace. At this point, I'm tired of it. There's a really gross and immature one that I don't want to talk about. But the rest of the jokes, and I use the term loosely, actually come across as more depressing than funny. I started to notice a pattern in terms of how Grace gets through this situation in general. Every time she gets an opportunity to get some sort of victory, she doesn't get out unscathed. Usually it's from some dumb bullshit that happens immediately after. It honestly kind of reminds me of some of the attempts at humor in Spyro Ripto's Rage. It tries so hard to subvert expectations that you start to wonder if Grace is actually accomplishing anything. This also further proves my point of how banal of a horror movie girl Grace really is. Now, what about the other characters? Well, they actually have a vain attempt to make the family sympathetic. The reason why they are going after and planning on killing Grace is because they will literally die if they don't. If you're watching it for the first time, you won't know if it's true. But let's assume that it is true. You could see them as fighting for their lives and doing whatever is necessary to keep them. But then you realize they are pretty arrogant, dysfunctional, and like killing way too much. You may not know what to think, but I do. I was like, nah, fuck them. I hope they die. Well, I have been pretty harsh on this movie so far. I do want to stress that there are good things about it. I felt the story itself was actually extremely logical. I honestly can't think of any plot holes or logical plot fallacies. That is fucking amazing. I even thought some of the emotional beats were done really well. The scene where the husband tries to comfort Grace in the beginning, and the scene where he tells his mother what Grace means to him, are both really effective. Sure, in hindsight, it's kind of hard to tell whether he's serious or not, but it felt real. But if you really don't give a damn about that stuff, and you really want to see some blood and guts, then I'm sorry to tell you, but you're going to be pretty disappointed. There's really not a whole lot of violence in this movie. In fact, most of the super gory moments happen in the final scene, which, without spoiling anything, I'll admit was pretty clever. It really goddamn was. You'd have to see it to know what I'm talking about. But even though I thought the ending was good, it doesn't really cancel out any of the things that I didn't care for in this movie. Especially since before the final scene, the family was saying, "Hail Satan," which is the laziest fucking way to make sure the audience knows that they are evil. The story itself is well put together, but it was billed as some sort of unique and quirky grindhouse movie, but it really is just another run-of-the-mill horror movie that's not really worth remembering. Now, as for the production values, the cinematography is really goddamn good. It has that kind of elaborate tint mixed with a dark tint that works surprisingly well with the movie. The editing and sound are fine. The music is surprisingly good. Not so much the score, but the songs are actually pretty good. My favorites are the Hide and Seek song and Love Me Tender Love Me Tender, the Stereo Jane version. Both of these were fucking great song choices. Overall, Ready or Not is kind of a mid movie for me. While there are plenty of good elements about it, the bad elements really do hurt the experience for me. Because it tries to be different, but can't help but use elements of horror movies that are really not that impressive anymore. I also don't think that it will satisfy what people are looking for in it. If you want a quirky and unique movie, I can think of a dozen movies that do that better. If you're a gore enthusiast who loves tons of blood splatter, I can think of 24 movies that do that better, and don't save most of the violence and gore for the end. I don't hate this movie, but I really don't think I got that much out of it either. I give Ready or Not 2 out of 5 stars with the title of Okay But Lacks Staying Power. Anyway, I'm Spike Robot. If you like this video, you can subscribe to my channel. And see you next time. Honor the freedom, Jingos.
If it don't hurt, I get suspicious. I like to take the knife and twist it. Yeah, my love is